Good morning. Up on my run again. Oh, what a day. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so convenient, like living in the UK. When we're on lockdown, turns out we get our best weather yet that I've seen this time of year in a long time. And I wouldn't be British if I didn't talk about the weather. I might start calling these run talks. There's some variation of that, maybe you guys have got some ideas for it. Today I want to talk to you about, I've got the Maskless Men podcast coming up for launching on the 26th of May. Make a note of that, 26th of May. And I'm lining up to do 10 episodes. And one of the things I struggle with is like, what's the vision? What do I truly want to give to my listeners through this show? What's the value I really want to give? And I got sidetracked, got caught up in my head. That led to overwhelm. And overwhelm led me to start asking questions. And the question I asked myself this morning during my meditation was, why are you doing this? Why are you even launching this podcast in the first place? And I like to go back to my story. My pre-scripted, perfectly woven story to invoke every emotion and get you super hyped about changing your life. No, not that. But you know, when I start to think about how I've lived my life, I spent the best part of 30 years trying to be someone I wasn't. And the truth is, that person that I wasn't, I actually didn't know who he was either. So while I might have been saying, I feel like a fake, I feel inauthentic, this is who I really am, but the truth is I never really knew who I was. I'd spent so long being someone I wasn't, that was my norm. That was just what I did. That was Jay Williams, the confident, perceived to be confident, loud, talkative people person. And I just know that being that was not fun. I did have some fun. Don't get me wrong, my life hasn't been all misery. I haven't woke up every day and gone, oh, I'm someone I'm not, and I'm going to throw a big pity party. No. But there was plenty of moments when I found myself feeling vulnerable and challenging situations. One of the most prominent ones was when I was surrounded by people who had been more successful than me in business. But the difference is I just started and they'd been doing it for 10 years. But I would compare myself to other people and then feel shit. And in those situations where I was having a conversation with them, I'd put on my mask, I'd put on my front, my success mask I called it, and sound clever, sound knowledgeable, and act clever. But it was this surface level, it's a bit like motivational quotes. I quote motivational quotes. Yeah. That's me, super intelligent. And coming back to the Maskless Men podcast, Maskless Men as a brand, as a business. I went to men's groups and I moved around a number of men's groups, and I discovered that there's a whole world of men that I didn't know anything about. I didn't know that men and their complex relationships with other people, with multiple people. I didn't know about men and their relationship to anger and how they either suppressed anger or they expressed it in an uncontrolled manner. I didn't know that men had thoughts about gay porn even though they were straight. or you know, sleeping with another man. I didn't know that men had all of these fantasies and thoughts. And there's a lot going around in lots of men's head, and I discovered that there's a lot of things that I didn't know about men, I didn't understand about men. And I have best friends that I had what I would say was very surface level relationships with. And when I started to take off my own mask and I started to get to know who I was, and I started showing up as the person I discovered myself to be, someone who could now align with his values, I really wanted to connect more deeply with other men. And through going to the men's groups, there was a really safe, trusting space where men who spent their whole life wearing the mask could explore and try on a different version of them. Try and unwind all of the shit and the layers they'd built up throughout their life to protect themselves and to stop themselves from being hurt or exposed or being vulnerable. Their conditioning. And with the Maskless Men podcast, I want men to see that they're not alone. Truly. That as men, we all have these thoughts and we all have these problems. And through the podcast, I don't only want to give them the insights and the tools that they can take away and apply to their lives so they can become the best version of themselves, whatever that means to them. I want to bring on guests. I want to talk openly, without the mask. I want to get real so men can develop the confidence in themselves to even take that first step and start to go there and start to ask those questions of, is this really who I am? Who am I? What do I believe? What is important to me? What's the life I really want to create for myself? And I truly believe that through the Maskless Men podcast, when I get guests on and we can get to know these guests, we can get to real and we can start having these authentic, I know it's a bit of a buzzword, real, open conversations, vulnerable conversations that men might never have and they've never had access to, then men can start to see that other men are doing it and it's okay, and maybe I should try doing it. And I'm going to try doing it with my close friends first of all, and I'm going to take some of the tools and insights that I'm pulling from different sources, maybe on the podcast, to actually start applying this stuff to my life and truly been able to become the man that I know deep down that I am meant to be. Because for a lot of men, the truth is, if they're being really honest with themselves, they don't feel like men. And it's all of their unwillingness to take that first step, their ego, the lack of trust and the fear that is motivating them to behave in that way, that stops them from going there. And I want to, through my podcast, to inspire men to take that first step. So Maskless Men podcast, keep an eye out for it. Launching on the 26th of May. We've got another guest coming up today, and we've got some incredible guests lined up, so stay tuned. Like Maskless Men page, I'll be launching all the events on there. And if you're not following me on Instagram, @Maskless Men, check it out. Cheers guys.